Okay, we lit it just like a fuse, so no need to pick and choose. Welcome to 2020, where we do more than interviews. The hottest be coming through, jumping knowledge on all of you. Get a peek at the front of you with the truth that they offer you. Yeah, hands up, we doing it for the culture. To give artists and businesses more exposure. Keep it real and stay solid just like a boulder. It's about to go all the way down, can't get no lower. Chasing my dreams, know that they get no slower. But if I stay running, I promise they getting closer. Moreover, success my older. And if you're sleeping on me, I'm waking them up like Folgers. I told you, coming from the land with the tide roll. Well, we'll be on a whole different vibe though. We like to ride slow and keep our windows tinted so you really can't see us like Stevie Wonder waking up with his eyes closed. Yeah, got the kind of flow that rock the boat. On my 16s of pounds of dough. And if you figure you can hang with me on the mic, then grab some rope. Matter of fact, better grab some hope while you at it. We keep it live, it's time to tune in. Turn up the sound on what you're using. It goes so hard, I think it's bruising. The show is 2020, no need to zoom in. Yeah.
Hey, yo, what's up? It's your boy, Sir, of the 2020 Podcast LLC. Please say the LLC. Hey, yo, I am back. Another year, a new me. You might notice I'm missing my dreads. I cut it off when I got engaged, and I'm never looking back. But that's not the point. Today, we have a Business Minute interview with my brother, Mark Bandy. How are you doing today, bro?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Man, I can't call it. That's what the old folks say, so I'm going to keep that saying going.
I feel that.
Now, Mark, I found you on TikTok. One day I was scrolling, and I was just telling you before we started recording that I am pro content. Like, when it comes to independence, when it comes to comic books, I see, I listen, I buy. That's the way I support. And I came across SiRR. So you captured me when you were showing the artwork, and you started telling the story. So for those people listening, what is SiRR?
I'm Mark, like you were saying, and this is SiRR. So let me get it out of the sleeve real quick, so that way the light won't be glaring everywhere. So this is SiRR, and this is my debut comic. It is a supernatural thriller set on a college campus. It follows this young man, John, who is a criminology major who is stuck in the crossfire of a conspiracy. There are strange benefactors that are offering charity on campus, and he seems to be the only person skeptical, which is a bit unusual, I would argue, for an HBCU. So it's based off my time as a student at Jackson State. I really wanted to write a comic book that's centered on an HBCU campus, and it's very much inspired by some of my favorite manga as a kid, Yu Yu Hakusho. John is definitely in the vein of a spirit detective, if you will, and also a different world, because obviously if we're talking about HBCUs and slice of life, that was easily the first representation I saw, and what honestly made me want to go to an HBCU as a kid. So definitely those two are my biggest inspirations. And the story, it's something that's meant to be a love letter to both my education as an HBCU student, but also just a person from the South. I love comic books. I love Marvel. And I love the world outside of my window, but my window is a little bit different from that of like the common New Yorker, right? You know, the common comic fan, right? And I think we got plenty of superheroes in New York. So I wanted to put a couple down in the South, down in Jackson, Mississippi, and a little small HBCU like the one I went to. So yeah, that's SiRR. That's us.
That's beautiful, brother. And shout out to you. I also come from an HBCU, Alabama
Nice.
A&M University.
Hey, there we go.
So,
You're one state over. You're right there. I feel
you. Feel me?
Yes, sir.
Across the state line, right?
Yeah, literally right there. Yeah.
So that leads me to one of my first questions. Like, how did this particular idea, and I understand the reference to like a different world, love that show too. That's another reason why I wanted to go as well. You know, seeing the crossover between, you know, the Cosby Show, A Different World, and then experiencing like Greek life, visiting, you know, all of that plays a part. So for you specifically though, you know, the character choice, the location choice, how did that come together? Because it's one thing to have the idea of wanting to do something different, as you mentioned, but how did you pull those strings together to form this story?
Well, honestly, it was really an idea that was stuck in my head for a while. I went to school for engineering. My mom was an English teacher. She was the type that always was correcting my grammar anytime I get something wrong. Boy, that's a pen, not a pin, right? That kind of I always had this want to flex a literary chop that maybe wasn't being flexed in class, if you will. And when I graduated, finally had a little bit extra bread from that first big boy job after college, right? Finally could invest in the comic book shop, and comics kind of became like a real thing finally for me. I always loved comics, don't get me wrong, but my mom could afford, like, a single parent house, so my mom could afford the Marvel monthly, I think, for like maybe 1 or 2 years when I was a kid, and it was Ultimate Spider-Man. It was Ultimate Spider-Man all the time. Mark Bagley. That was like, I still remember whenever Peter got that mask ripped off by Wilson Fisk. It was amazing, right? And that was something I was missing in my adult life. I wanted to do that as well. And when I kind of started going to comic events around here in Phoenix, I moved to a bigger city as well, it just became a lot realer when you can kind of meet these individuals who are professional creators, ask them questions and just be like, hey, what do I need to do if I want to be like you? And I went to one event with Mitch Garrett's. He, amazing artist over at DC, watercolor style that's just out of this world. And I fell in love with his artwork the first time I saw it. I went up to him at a signing. I was like, what do I need to do to be you? And he's like, well, just make a comic book, dude. And I was like, that's it? Y'all gonna take me seriously? He's like, yeah, dude, that's what we did. What do you mean? And I was like, okay. Well, I have an idea, but I'm not a writer. He's like, you become one. So it was me kind of taking time to understand what I could be in this assembly line, right? I kind of became a creator, I became a writer, and I knew an artist that I already wanted to work with from my esports days. I used to be an esports coach for Overwatch. I used to grind that out back in the day, back in like tier 3. And one of the artists for the esports company, he did like a comic that kind of like satirized a bunch of the personas that people had, like gaming wise, and kind of like this tournament arena style type comic. He felt that he wanted something that he could dig his teeth into, not just a one shot or something that was kind of like a web comic. He wanted to do something like full scale, right? And when I kind of pitched him the idea to SiRR, he was like, this is great, but we gotta evolve you forward, right? So I gave him a bunch of thumbnails. They were sketched. I was real proud of him. He was like, bro, what is this? I can't read this. I can't read this. And like I eventually realized, okay, so if I can see it in my head, then I should be able to write to him what it is, right? So he was like, just learn how to write a script. Learn how to write a script. Go do what the screenwriting kids do for a little bit. Figure it out, right? So I kind of started there. Studio Binder, different free resources like that. Slowly moved into looking at more comic book based scripts and kind of figuring out how I wanted to kind of leverage the two together. Kind of came up with my own secret sauce, if you will, to kind of figure out how to finally put the idea on the page. And once I finally was able to get something coherent there, like Che was like, oh, okay, yeah, no, I know exactly what you want here. I can actually see it now. Cool. I can actually work with this. So he was willing to grow with me. It took us about 3 years to develop the whole idea from start to finish. It changed a bunch of times, but the heart of the story never did. Like, we always knew how it needed to feel, right? We just wanted to make sure that the beats were coherent and that we weren't just kind of making a vibe piece, if you will. Not that vibe pieces are bad, but we wanted to make sure that it wasn't just good off of the vibes alone, right? And after kind of layering in all the elements, just letting Che just cook, I'm going to be honest, he's a fantastic artist. And it's also being able to lean in hard on like my girlfriend who's my editor. It really helped me kind of mature fast and fail fast, so that way I could actually give something readable to the public and make something that was quote unquote like worth drawing, because I don't want to waste my artist's time. You know what I mean? The worst thing that could possibly happen is someone sees a talented artist and be like, man, he's just saddled with a lame writer. Like, I don't want to hold Che back, right? So it's kind of like what I told some of my friends when I was first coming out, and I was like, if I'm gonna come outside and say I'm doing this, like, that I'm like one of you guys, I'm a writer, I need to do it for real. And like, there's going to be a point where I know I'm doing this for real, because I can come outside and confidently say that I'm doing it. And I think I've been at that spot now for about like a good year and a half, almost 2 years now. And that's a good feeling. So for SiRR to be like the thing that I was able to do that with, like my original idea, if you will, because sometimes people are very critical on that. They're like, oh, you shouldn't publish your first idea. Well, what if the first idea had legs and I need to grow, right? Maybe I'm not ready, but maybe the idea could be. Right? So you sit with it, you bake on it a few times, you don't show them the first draft, you show them your 27th draft, you know what I mean? You give them as much precursor time on the project as possible, and then once you give it to them, suddenly they can see how much time you've spent with it. So it was a long time coming, but it feels great to be here now.
Man, I just want to say, like, in relation to what you just mentioned, everything you stated just now goes into the importance of networking and believing in yourself. Had you not went and had that conversation, had you not heard just do it from someone who was once in your position, imagine what type of route your life might have taken.
Oh no, I definitely agree with you 100%.
And I find the beauty in that, man, to hear also that your circle, having someone close to you working on this passion project as an editor, is beautiful too, because it almost sounds like it came together in like a perfect storm of situation. Having the mother that you had, having the life that you had, the experiences that you had, the associations you had that had nothing to do with the comic book, just having somebody you knew that made fun of people.
Yeah, no,
Art
seriously.
it's kind of beautiful. It's poetic even, brother. So that's going to lead me to my next question, because this is a series of experiences, right? Were there any real life experiences that helped shape this story and this world that you created in SiRR?
Oh, so many. Oh, there's so many. Some of them I just put verbatim into the book. Like the joke with between Willie and Mason for Mason's introduction, that happened almost verbatim one day in Highland Hall at LSU. Willie's a menace, man. I'm gonna be honest. Like Willie's the type of guy he'll stand you and your friends in a line and be like, "All right, wait your turn," and then start just doing the dozens on everybody. Like it's like he was waiting to use the material. Like it's just he was the campus comedian, if you will. And Willie's a philosophy major. He's also an engineer, and like he does a lot of layers to him as a man. And I think that he makes jokes along the way to kind of make sense out of the world. And if you're one of his jokes, that means he cares about you. You know what I mean? He decided to make sense out of you, if that makes sense. So I wanted to try and do something similar with this book. I wanted to try to make sense out of my college journey and all the people that were around me. And some of them were kind enough to even let me use them for this story. People like Willie, people like John. They let me just use them in their likeness straight up and said, you know what? I trust you not to make me look horrible. Okay, just go ahead, do something cool, make it happen. Same with Vincent. I played football with Vincent back at Menard. And he went to Jackson State as well. I saw when I was like, oh, someone from my high school is here. Oh yeah, you're going in the book. Like it's like there's no reason, because I was a transfer student, right? I had to leave what I thought home was, and I found home there, right? That's awesome. I'm gonna put you in the book. You're definitely a part of this, and like kind of figuring out what everyone meant to me in my personal life helped me figure out what they need to be for this story. And It really was this perfect storm of just kind of pieces falling into place. Like I knew that I knew I didn't want to be the protagonist of this story. I knew that I was just kind of a background character here. I'm the transfer student at the HBCU. I kind of fit into the background of everything. I have a story to tell, but I'm not the main character. And I wanted to showcase that as well. I knew that John would kind of be in the position to be able to lead on campus a little bit more, especially if he was already on campus narratively. Just seeing him in real life, how much of a leader he is, both politically and amongst like our friends group. He was definitely someone that people used to look up to. And like John's a normal build male, you know what I mean? He's like someone who's like he's under 6 foot, like he works out, he takes care of himself, he runs, but like he's an everyday man, and like people look there. That's something inspiring about that. So I wanted to showcase the idea of like the everyday man being the protagonist. You know what I mean? Because that's who we look up to whenever we kind of can't make sense of things anyway. So there was this a foreign influence on campus. The fact that like at HBCU we have so many foreign exchange students. You might not think that. You might not think that there'd be a bunch of people just looking to come to rural, Mississippi, rural Alabama. There are people who, very important people, diplomats' daughters, people who are, only here because their parent is a very important person. You know what I mean? I wanted to tell that story so that way people would understand the kind of depth on campus, because I was seeing that everywhere I would go, and people are trying to tell me it's not there, right? So, if anything, I feel like I took what I saw and then I put a story to that, because there was just so many. It's kind of like playing pinball almost. You can find a story there. There's a story. It's beautiful. It's going to light up. It's just about making sure that you can have as close to a perfect game as possible. You want to make sure you have a rhythm and like people know you know what you're doing. You know what I mean? But there's something beautiful to be found there, in my opinion.
Man, I love that, and I can tell based on just the way you're speaking about how things came together at, JSU, everything is going to translate kind of in a similar manner in the book. I can't wait for mine to arrive. I'm telling you, I'm going to do a TikTok video when I get it in my hand. Best believe.
I'm excited to see.
And also, I have spread the word to my blurred brethren over at the Blurred Syndicate. So yeah, we're on lookout. Of course, man, we're gonna support. Another thing I want to talk about, right? When pursuing your dream, it's always scary. There's always a process, just like you described. And you said you never show the first one. You show them the 27th one.
Oh yes.
Not literally, but figuratively. You got to refine it. So I have to ask, during your process, is it more exciting starting or finishing? Like the beginning portion of the process, like seeing everything come together and work? Or when you get to the end, when you're like, damn, it's done. Which one did you enjoy more?
That's hard. That's hard for me because I love starting a project. I got ADHD real bad. My mom was a DIYer as a kid. I got start a project syndrome real bad. But I think because I have that tendency, right? I have the tendency to kind of, set the table and kind of have things ready to start later on. It's really, really impressive whenever people finally show up for dinner. It's something really, really impressive about that. And when you finally can just sit back and see people eating, it's a little bit different. There's an anticipation factor always when you set the table. But when I finally held SiRR in my hand, it was very akin to when I walked across that stage at Jackson State. Now, to be fair, I was the first graduation after COVID. I dropped out twice before I finished. So, when I walked past that stage, it was like, all right, there's a lot of people watching. Don't cry, right? You know what I mean? And it was it felt that way. It felt like I was holding something that was a culmination of multiple years of work, lots of planning, going back and reviewing notes, feeling like they were like these high pressure moments that felt like tests where if you don't just keep your foot on the gas and looking for whatever could possibly go wrong, you could immediately get sit back to step one, right? It kind of felt like that at situations. And when I finally held SiRR in my hand, I'm not going to lie, it felt a little bit more gratifying. And don't tell my mom that because I don't want her to think that engineering degree wasn't worth it, right? But it's like anyone can be an engineer. I wrote SiRR. You know what I mean? It's different. It's different. You know what and not that I'm not knocking that. I mean, because I became an engineer because we need black engineers, right? But right. You get my point though. We need black writers too. We need black comic book creators too. Like Dwayne McDuffie's birthday was yesterday. You know what I mean? We gotta remember who inspired us to want to do this in the first place. And I'm be honest, Static, it wouldn't have been a thing without. I don't think this it's also a part of this. You know what I mean? Milestone and all of those books, the idea of all the people that came before me that I can kind of continue that on that legacy. I wanted to be a part of that. You know what I mean? And it's super cool that I get to do that, and that I get to kind of add something that wasn't necessarily that I saw here because. I'm sure there are comic books out there with HBCUs at the center, but I haven't seen them. Mm-hmm. And if I haven't seen them, I'm going to go ahead and make it. Just so we can have a little bit more out there. You know what I mean? So holding it in my hand, getting to see, John walking across this, seeing a black man on a comic book cover, always great. But then with our variant cover, we got to do an homage to a different world, and I got to do a variant of their second season box cover, and getting to put the whole cast, a cast of black people on a comic book cover, this is why we do it. This is why we do it right here. And it's every time I love this cover so much just because I get to see a bunch of smiling faces on the front cover. You know what I mean? There's something about that really resonates with me and that I want to see. So holding it at the end, I do have to say it's a different type of feeling. It really is. Finishing a book is always going to be a great feeling.
One might say it's a different world.
Ooh, there we go. There we go. Yes, I like that.
So I want to talk about the writing portion because it's in your blood, brother. I hate to say it, but I hate to be so cliche, but
my mom's gonna love to hear that. Marilyn's gonna love to hear that.
Obviously, because you got this far, you got to this point. No disrespect to you being an engineer. That's wonderful.
No, but you're right, though. You're not wrong. My mom is a very big part of this. I can't pretend that she didn't teach me how to talk.
You feel me? So that's going to lean into this next question. Was there, a support system, because we talked about the editing, and the art, but specifically putting that story to pad, was there anyone that helped you through that process? Anyone that may have leaned over your shoulder and too many words, couple more words? Was there anyone to help you coach you through it?
I would think that there are three really big people that come to mind. I already talked about Che. I made him a co-writer on the series. I would think that I would honestly do that with any artist I work with, just because I think that if you're drawing my words, you have the right to tell me I think this would work better. I'm not dictating to you. You're the director of this piece. I'm the screenwriter. If something needs to be rewritten, tell me what needs to be rewritten. I'll give you something better. You know what I mean? And like if you come up with something better, I'm down to use it, because that means that there's something beautiful about collaboration. It's something very strong about it when you can add something distinctly different from two people that both work. I love that, and I'll always choose to take that. So Che, getting to have him as a co-writer on this book, very important. I think it also makes for just the words to ring a little bit more true, having it come from both of us. It makes it to where we're both trying to kind of put ourselves into this story, and I think that really helps. On top of that, I wouldn't have developed this far without him. The fact that he helped me nudge me in the right direction with screenwriting, to get better with scripts, told me just to kind of, like, he told me flat out, this isn't ready yet. We need to do better. That's big. I wouldn't have been, like, hearing that from someone who's I'm working with that I really want to impress, that makes you want to actually, it's going to put your feet to the fire, straight up. So I would not have been able to do this without my artist, straight up. Wouldn't have been able to do this without my editor. My girlfriend is, bar none, she's, I can't do this without her, straight up. As much as I argue with her sometimes, as much as I like to pretend that my words are perfect, they're not. And she's here to make sure I don't look stupid, and I appreciate her for that so much. And she's more than just the editor. She is my legal advisor. She is my graphic designer, because like she's a lawyer, so like it helps. Like having that in your back pocket is humongous, especially as an indie creator. It is humongous to just know that you're not going to get yourself sued. It is incredible. It is incredible, and I love her so much for being that resource in my life and helping me grow, putting that work into me. From there, I would say that the one person outside of our development group that really, really did help when they did not have to, was the owner of Ash Avenue Comics over in Tempe. His name's Drew. He is an incredible human being when it comes to the love he has for comics. I went in when I was very green, still kind of just, I had inks I had some inks I put in a portfolio so I could show the book to people in theory, right? I was going around kind of just like, hey, I got inks for books. I'm kind of making things. I'm going to make a Kickstarter. Can I leave some stuff here to tell people about it? Things like that, right? Passing out cards, going to all the different comic book shops in town. And when I went to him and I kind of talked to him about stuff, he was the only person who was like willing to talk to me for like the extended period of time. And he kept me in the store past close. He kept me in the store past close for about like 40 minutes. Just talking to me about stuff, telling me don't get discouraged. There's going to be a lot of people in this industry who have kind of already gone and fizzled out. Like their hoop dreams didn't make it. They're going to want to, like, you know, tarnish yours. Don't let that happen. Things like that. And he was like, if you have something, bring it to me. I'll look at it. I'll tell you what it needs. And I brought him inks. And straight up, because I couldn't see it at the time because I was focusing on too many things. And it was something that I didn't know to look for yet, because it wasn't something that just immediately tipped off my brain as a red flag. But our panels weren't aligned. Our panels weren't aligned yet at that time. We had like slight, like as far as like going to the far borders, we had some issues with the panels where they just weren't perfectly resized, and it was because we just hadn't moved to colors yet. And it was something that you definitely needed to have done before that. And he kind of gave me this talk about, okay, so you're going to want to make sure your panels are all perfect, because it's kind of like a comic is like it's like letting your friend ride your bike. You don't want to give them a trick bike. You want the bike to work. You don't want to have to tell them, okay, the handle kind of sticks if you use like the brake, or like don't try and do like a full turnaround because like the handle will just fly off. You don't want to give them a trick bike. You want to give them a bike that works. And a comic book that isn't correctly formatted is kind of like a trick bike. You're kind of making them force to kind of deal with something that isn't standardized, just so that way they can read your story. So like, get to standardization, get to spec, if you will, and like it'll be a perfect book. And like I went back home and I was just like, man, I'm so stupid. How did I not see this? And it's like, because it's the first time you made a comic book, dude. You're just looking at the inks, being like, man, hard. Like you're not paying attention to the boundaries of this comic book. You know what I mean? And like that was something I needed to hear. And he was someone who I've gone back and talked to him multiple times. he's such an amazing person as far as being a comic book store owner, someone who has sold my book in his store.
Wow.
It's incredible what he's done for us, and the amount of advice he's willing to give us, so that way we can get to a quicker, failing faster, trying to get to that level of professionalism faster. So I would say those people, and then obviously my parents. I can't not talk about my parents. I was honestly a little bit scared to tell my mom about this, but I still told her about it the whole time. She definitely got hyped up. My dad's been a lifelong nerd. He's the person who introduced me to comic books, so the idea that his son was making a comic book, he immediately was like, yeah, you can do this. Yeah, no, I believe you. You got this. And I was like, oh, cool. That's awesome. All right, well, I'm gonna get this done. So I really appreciate, I guess, like those like 5 individuals for being really in my corner and making sure that like I didn't feel as though because I didn't go to school for this, I couldn't do it.
That's a bar. That's a bar. So I wanted to bring up something that you mentioned, and I totally understood where you came from, Mark. When you were mentioning the specs of the panels, brother, I'm not going to say what comic it is, but it is a comic book that I'm super into right now, that sometimes the panel sizing or the way the story is laid is out of order. Sometimes they want you to read across. Sometimes they want you to read the top 2, the bottom 2, and it confuses the story, and it takes me out the world. And I hate when that happens. I love this story. Phenomenal story, but that really snatches me out of the world.
I had to agree. I had to agree with you there.
Oh my goodness! So
like, I hate when they'll do the little like the square, but they'll split it top bottom, and when I'm supposed to go left right, and it's the first one, it's like, oh, y'all are cheating. You think because it's the first one on the row, you can get away with it? Okay,
I be wanting.
This is still hard to read.
It is.
Yes, it's hard to read
because it makes me feel like I'm dumb. I'm like, wait a minute, let me read this entire page over again and try to get back to where I was, and I don't want that. That's number one thing, because contrary to popular belief, it is extremely easy to put a book down.
Yeah, I agree.
Easy to get
one little thing.
And man, but anyway, I'm glad that you brought that up to those that are listening, to those who aspire to do this. I really hope they take that to heart, and for you to get that lesson early is amazing, because you got a leg up on a lot of other people. Now, going forward, I'm singing your praises already, because I'm hoping with this next question, this is something we could bring to fruition, right? If SiRR was to get animated, right?
All right.
Let's do it. If SiRR was to get animated, who would you want to cast first? And by that, I mean, which character from the comic book and which voice actor would you want to assign?
So
anybody in the world. Unlimited money. Let's just say that.
Unlimited money? Okay, that makes it feel a lot better. All right, cool. All right, so obviously I'm going to try and cast John first. He's our lead. He's our protagonist. Okay. He's got to be charismatic. He's got to be articulate. Needs to be down to earth, though, still. And I think that when I think about all of those things together, who's just kind of like at the top of their game right now, who I think would bring like a lot of like heat to the role, I had to go with Zeno Robinson. I love Zeno Robinson. I think he's never missed an assignment, in my opinion. And I loved when he was Cyborg on Young Justice. I think that somber type of sadness that he had would be perfect to do the Big Fur John's character. And I think that he would bring something kind of similar there. I think that would be like really, really cool. Plus, also, he doesn't miss. So getting to have him scream out some of the stuff John does when he's in a fight, that'd be awesome from an anime perspective. So Zeno's definitely number one for John. I have to cast John's best friend next if I'm going to cast John. I got to cast Danita. So Danita's from the UK. She's a diplomat's daughter. So it kind of adds a little bit of a complexity there when I think about, voice actors from the UK. But I was a really big Doctor Who fan growing up. And I still remember when like Freema Agyeman was on the show, and she was like the first like black companion for the Doctor. She actually portrayed a doctor in that season, which was pretty lit. And Danita is pre-med, so I think it would be something like she'd be able to give like that kind of slightly posh accent with like the medical background, whatnot. I think it'd be kind of like a perfect storm there. Plus, I think that her voice would match. When I think about what Danita's voice sounds like, her voice is very close. So I definitely probably would lean there. And I think that she would definitely do very well. If she's got that Doctor Who background, like something like this is definitely up her alley. So definitely think that'd be really fun. From there, I will spoil a little bit because this is kind of like issue 2 type stuff. But our third protagonist is Mason, even though he is just a minor character in issue 1. So I would need to probably cast him next. And that's kind of tough because Mason's got my likeness, right? And it's like, I can't be like, oh, Denzel. You know what I mean? I can't. You know what I mean? That's a little bit. You know what I mean? So I gotta be a little bit reasonable. Do you remember the black and white episode of Atlanta? Where like,
sure do.
Yes,
One of my favorites.
Tariq Withers, he was in him.
Yeah.
Yes, I think that if we literally go with that angle of like the laugh at his pain type angle, where like he's trying to be like strong chest, like, oh, I'm gonna make it through, and everyone's just kind of laughing in his face about it. That he would be perfect for kind of showcasing that. Plus, also he's Southern, and like Mason is from the sticks. So we need it's black Southern kind of country. We need that kind of represented here. And I think Tariq being like, a football player, Mason was as well. It would kind of work in that regard. I think he'd be able to kind of slip into the role well. But I think it'd also be fun for him too, because Mason's a bit of a goofball. So like he'd be able to kind of showcase a little bit more of his range, which it's definitely the one out the mix I would probably say is the hardest one to cast. But I'd say that he'd probably be the best one to go for it probably. So I'd probably go with Tariq for that one. Plus, he's a little slick funny. I'm not gonna lie. Like that last scene, the Best Buy scene was insane. When he was brushing his hair, incredible.
I love that entire season. To be frank with you.
It was. They really swung for the things. They swung for the fences. Like when they realized it was all coming to the end, they really kind of dialed it in, and I really appreciate what they did with it. I love Atlanta so much. Like big inspiration. Like the Afro surrealist elements there are just so perfect. Like Darius's singular episode was so sad, but also so reasonable.
Don't put me in my feelings, bro.
And I love that actor who played his brother. Like, cause I love like Flatbush Misdemeanors and stuff. So like I loved man. Darius
if we may deviate from the interview for just a second to fan
of course.
out, I love when writers take something as wholesome as someone buying weed and make it into someone who's haunted by the ghost of a memory. And it was so seamless. It was so sudden, but all the clues were there.
Yep.
Every single one. The lighting of the room, him being in the background and fading away.
Yeah. Like I'll take a bowl. Like, oh man. Oh, bro.
How's your mom?
Oh no! Don't do this. Like, oh man. But it's like those the callbacks in Atlanta are also great too. Like they'll take stuff that seemed like a random throwaway in season 1, and then like, okay, experience D'Angelo. Now this dude's literally telling you the dream you had that made you come back home and start this. Like what? Also, just like I love the joke that like I don't think I could get D'Angelo. Like that was such like R.I.P. to a legend. Everyone knew D'Angelo. Everyone knew D'Angelo, bro. Like there was only probably a 2-degree separation between any black person and D'Angelo when he was still alive. That's incredible motion,
bro. Rest in peace to the GOAT, man.
Yes. So no, I agree with you. I share a deep love for that show as well.
So I want to talk about environments, right? Because for me, I paint, I write poetry, I'm sticking my foot in the door for voice acting, Nice. And I have to have like a workspace, like a certain frame of mind, a certain surrounding. I know you can see some of my vinyls here, some of them from video games, some from movies, things like that. But I want to know, as a writer yourself, right? What does your creative space look like? And I don't mean just your surrounding or a room or a dope-ass lava lamp that I spot in the back. I mean specifically, like, how do you get into the mindset? Like, how do you get to that place? What is that like for you specifically?
So I guess starting with the physical, this is definitely like my little creator's corner. Kind of having a little small bookshelf in the back. I got Crave in here, like a little light to kind of set the mood, right? Based on how I'm feeling or whatever the vibe is that day, I'll kind of just change it. But It really is how do you get into that mode, right? How do you decide you want to start creating and have it be like meaningful and like actually get work done, right? And a lot of caffeine is involved, I'm not gonna lie. A lot of caffeine is involved. A lot of water. I probably have about like 5 or 6 water bottles piled up to the side of my desk right now. And it's about escaping. It's about getting comfortable enough to be able to escape into the story that you want to go into. Like for me personally, if I've ever really resonated with like movies or music or anything like that, I'll kind of have them kind of on loop in my head in the background. Music for definitely sure. Like if you ever ask anyone who to know me, I will constantly be just kind of humming something, and it'll just be whatever song I had stuck in my head last. I'll probably just kept looping it in my head, and now I'm just keeping going with it, and I'm having a good time. I definitely do that with TV or with movies, and I think that I've been able to kind of mature that place in my brain to be able to kind of slip into the story that I want to write for a comic. Now, it's definitely not nearly as concrete. It's probably flickering images, maybe just like a literal still and how it makes me feel. But if I can lock into how that made me feel, I can write it down. And once I have it written down, I can kind of make sense out of those feelings and kind of arrange them into places that'll make the most impact. And I think that if I can just get out of the real world and just get into my head, right? Just kind of be where everything's quiet, no one's talking to you, like you're in the tank, if you will. Like if I can get in there, then I can probably give you a few pages before I even realize that time is like time's elapsed, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's probably a little bit me laying into my ADHD a little bit. It's probably not good that I'm kind of dissociating for that long. But if I can get a couple pages done, I think it's constructive. So that's kind of what I need to do. And it's when I'm not in that space, it doesn't feel as real. It doesn't feel like the impact is something that I could like relate to. And I think that like I have to be in the room to be able to write it, which I think that's fair. I think Sanderson talked about that one time. That like our job as writers isn't to like know what's in the room. I just need to get people in there with me, and then they can tell me what's in the room. Like if I can bring them into say like a wrestling match, right? They can tell me what color like tights the wrestlers are wearing. I don't need to know that because I brought them into the room. You know what I mean? So I think it's as long as I can get those feelings right and just have the key to the right door and bring people in, I can kind of make sense of the story from there. So
Fire. No, I totally get what you mean. And I love I love that I'm not the only one that walk around doing echolalia. The only reason I know what that term is because one of my great friends, she's a counselor, and she's like, "Oh yeah, we be stimming." Like because everybody's a little bit on the spectrum. When you're on that plane and you're in a zone, everybody has their own form of stimming. And yeah, I knew exactly what you meant because I will. When God rest his soul, when D'Angelo died, I kept singing the "Want Some Love, Brown Sugar."
Oh yeah, Brown Sugar was stuck in my head for a while. Yes, the high notes specifically. Boom, 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 boom. Like literally, I was with a skip in a step. Like,
yeah, bro. So I wanted to ask, and this goes back to our previous conversation about you enjoying the end of the preparation, like watching the people digest what you've produced. Now let's go before that. Because every step, there's the start, there's the middle, there's the end. But I'm always interested in when someone's like in that home stretch, right? It's when you push the hardest. At what point when you're constructing this comic did you realize, oh shit, I'm almost there. I'm almost done. And you're just like, no, I gotta double down. I gotta focus. Let's get it done. Like, when did you hit that mark?
I think for me, when I hit that mark, it was... And I thought about this one a good bit, trying to think about when the point was. But so like an easy answer would say the Kickstarter, right? But I think it definitely comes before that because you have to make the Kickstarter and do all that stuff in the first place. So I think that the moment it probably I think got very real for me was when we handed off the script to the letterer. because we decided to go with and world design for the letters. It's very much a kiss of death in indie comics to cheapen out on letters at the last second. It's the cheapest part of the process to try and skimp out on something that is literally like almost like a 10% cheaper than line art. It's a bit of a no-no in my opinion, and it can really kind of be a kiss of death for books in the last stretch, right? And these were people, outside of our circle, people that I went with and world because they did the lettering for Milestone Returns, and I remember looking at those books and being like, I want letters that are like DC Comics quality, and I know they'll give us that because they work with indie people, and they wouldn't even be emailing us if it wasn't the case, right? So our money's clearly good, right? And I remember when I sent the script out to them, I made a bunch of changes last second. I was like, Che, check these changes real quick before we send it out, just because like these folks are professionals, right? Che's like, man, if you don't change this back, you took like so much teeth out of this. You took so much teeth out of this. He's like, if they get mad at you for writing something, I wrote it too. How about that? And I was like, all right. And because it was like the want to not have curse words in it, so they don't think that we're like not professional, things like that. And it's like, yeah, we have one curse word in the comic book, we're fine. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and it's like it's for comedy purposes. You know what I mean?
Right.
It was kind of getting out of my head there and realizing, no, like, you need to turn this in, get these letters, and get this book out to people. Because clearly they think that this is something worth lettering. They would not have emailed you back. And, getting to work with DC was awesome. DC is an amazing letterer. He was Ringo nominated this last year. Like, he's been coming up crazy since we started SiON. And to be able to have him be the letters for this book is incredible. There were so many moments. He added exactly what we needed. That little extra umph in like an action or dialogue, like an action text or something. Like the big words, the crackacoons. Like, he was there making it better. You know what I mean? And I think that was definitely the moment where I was like, okay, you can't pretend that you can like half give this. You have to just commit. And like when you commit and people see it, you need to be proud of it because your name's on it. And I think that was like the first moment that I realized, okay, point of no return. Are you still proud of this book if someone sees it? And it's like, yeah, 1,000,000%. I'll be damned if someone makes me feel not proud about this, right? So I think that was probably the closest to that moment, because it made me realize, like, okay, if I can turn in scripts and not feel like I need to keep, pulling myself out of this, then that means hopefully I can stay in the ring long term.
Yeah, no, that's this is so inspirational, and I really hope someone is catching this right now, because every step of the way, man, you've taken a magnifying glass to the small process involved of every step and how important this is to get to this point. And I think that's important. I think it's okay to invest those extra few dollars and, going to go see someone just to ask a question. I think it's okay to take a few dollars, put them in your friend's, pocket. Hey, draw this for me. Yeah. Hey, babe, look at this for me. Keeping money and opportunities in your circle like this, and investing pays dividends, whether it's you're inspiring someone else or it gets us two people from two different states who didn't know each other before a few days ago. And now they're sitting down having a conversation about each other's passion. Is amazing to me. I think all of this happens for a reason. And it's because both of us in respective points took a chance at something that we enjoy doing. I love interviewing and doing podcasting. You had an idea and you ran with it. And look at you now, brother. I'm super stoked for you. So with that being said, I want to ask, Crimson Sleeper Studios, what is next, my boy?
SiON issue 2, man. SiON issue 2 is right around the corner. We are getting ready to launch the pre-launch for it soon. I was hoping to have it ready for this, so I could have given it out to folks, but unfortunately, Kickstarter is dragging their legs. They switched over to dragging their heels. Dragging the whole leg. Apparently, they switched over to an AI system for confirmation for pre-launch stuff. So it's just been a little bit of it's been a hassle trying to satisfy its criteria. But hopefully Monday we'll have like a link for everybody to join up on. Issue 2 is going to pick off for issue 1. Pick up where issue 1 left off. It's going to be awesome because we are featuring the Battle of the Bands. We're going to have a game day on campus, and we're actually going to be paying homage to the Southern University Human Jukebox. They're going to be in facsimile. They're going to be the Coastal University Human Sound Machine, but we're going to yeah. So we are going to we're gonna show what a halftime band performance looks like at an HBCU. We're gonna show how people they go get their concessions during the game, so they can be ready for halftime. That's why people came, not to watch football, to watch the band. And we play a bit of that joke a little bit in the series. So it's gonna be cool because Jackson State, obviously we got the boom, sonic boom of the South.
Sonic boom of the South, baby.
So I wanted to kind of obviously JSU, we love our band, but as a person from Louisiana and whose grandmother went to Grambling, I unfortunately have heard her cuss at the TV every Bayou Classic. It is because the jukebox are just that good. They are possibly, quite literally, the best band to ever walk this earth, generation after generation, and nobody sounds as good as the jukebox. But the boom does try. We are like that one person with their sword in their hand that says, "You gotta whoop me, man. You gotta whoop me." And I love that about us.
Man, I remember, and we used to have a battle of the bands here in Mobile all the time, and I would always look forward to seeing them come because I was like, "Oh shit, everybody get out the way."
Yeah, right.
And don't get me wrong. I mean, they were respectfully disrespectful with it. Yeah. Like, you could be playing and doing your thing. Nah, they're gonna blare. They're gonna play. They'll play over you if they feel that you're not coming with it full force. And I just love that. I love that you're able to bring that into focus because HBCUs are such an experience that we can't put into words.
Not at all.
And I think, and just listening, and again, like y'all who are listening, I haven't read it yet, but I can tell the love for it is woven into this story. And I love that, man. I love that, brother. So that's going to bring me to my final question of this interview. And this has been a pleasure, Mark. We got to stay in touch, bro.
Oh, for sure. Definitely, man. For sure.
So this question I dedicate to everybody that's listening to this interview, because like I've said before in this interview, brother, the hardest thing in the world to do is to take an idea that you have, a passion that you have, and run with it. So to that person who's watching this live stream or listening to this podcast that will come out next week, what word of encouragement do you have for them when they have that dream, but they are afraid to act on it?
I think that it's important to know that you don't have to do it all at once. Goals may take a long time to mature, but they're still worth putting the effort into. I promise it's worth that stray dollar you were able to save for it. I promise that it is worth you getting to be the person that you want to be, even if it doesn't pan out. Like, even if you don't make it to the moon, right? You did it. You tried. You went out there and you did the thing. And I will have more respect for the person who went and put themselves out there. I will have more respect for that person every day of the week than the person who continued to pretend that they could just hate on everyone else's effort along the way when they're not out here producing. And I say that with experience. I say that with the chip on my shoulder of having to do engineering for so many years, and then suddenly, what are you gonna do now? Well, you could be free of all this angst. You could be free of all of this want to pretend that people shouldn't have the opportunity to do something because you didn't. Maybe you could make that opportunity for yourself now. Maybe you're not done yet. And maybe you are acting this way because you want to. So I'm a quote, because I love Kingdom Hearts, I'm a quote Goofy. Don't give up. But he don't give up. Yeah. Don't give up, bro. Don't give up. Because even a Goofy can get it done.
That's a bar. That's a bar. Mark, brother. One thing I want to make sure is that we put a lane where people can get in contact with you. What's the best way to follow you, or if someone wants to get in contact with you, or may want to pick your brain about the process? What's the best way to get in contact with you?
I would say socials are definitely the best way. I'm probably the most active on TikTok and on Instagram. We're at Crimson Sleeper Studios, I believe, on pretty much all platforms. But you can pretty much find us anywhere other than, I believe, the app formerly known as Twitter. I don't think I post on X anymore, but I think Threads, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. Yeah, we got those 5 covered. So you can find us at all those locations at Crimson Sleeper Studios.
And look, I can attest, he responds. That's how I found him and got this interview set up. I was like, man, this man is not going to respond. Sent the question and boop, responded right back. And I love it, man. I love this. Congratulations to you, brother.
Thank you.
On a successful issue 1. I'm going to send a congrats again to you for issue 2 that's coming up. I can't wait. I will be in the number to sign up and get mine as well, brother.
Awesome.
And,
good to hear.
It's always a pleasure to do interviews like this. I look forward to hearing more from you. Thank you, most of all, for taking time out your day.
No, thank you for having me. Thank you.
Pleasure's all mine, brother. Like, from one creative to another, to hear your story is so inspiring. To hear how everything came together, like I said, bro, it was almost like this was destined to happen. You know, just listening to your story, so inspirational. And well, I'm not gonna hold y'all any longer. With that being said, this has been your boy Sir of the 2020 Network / the 2020 Podcast LLC. Mark Bandy, Crimson Sleeper Studios. Make sure you go follow him immediately. Stay in tune. This man's ideas are. Just go watch.
Thank you.
And make sure you go follow him on TikTok, because I was with you on your take on he who will not be named.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go follow his TikTok. You'll know what I'm talking about. But that's it, man. Y'all have a great day. Be safe, be blessed, and we are out. Peace.